welcome everyone on this fabulous Monday to another game of Overwatch. This is what we all love to see. Just some great Overwatch being played. I'm going to be your host for tonight, and we are going to be watching Overwatch, Maryland versus Michigan. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. One thing I'm noticing right off the bat while we're waiting to get started here is we're going to be seeing Tango on Tank coming out of Maryland. We've been seeing a lot of infectious recently, and uh, I'm curious to see how this Maryland team is looking with a different tank at the lead. Our first match is probably going to be on a control point. So we'll see. We've been seeing a lot of Li Zhang recently, out of as well as we've been seeing a lot of Li Zhang, as well as I'm blanking on the name Ilios. So those are kind of the maps that Maryland has been favoring recently. We'll see if we'll see whatever we're going to end up on. One thing I'm really looking forward to is maybe we can see some Ramatra. We saw a little bit coming out of Maryland on the last game, but I'm not too sure. He did get some big buffs recently, so uh, he's able to keep up his punchy form for just much higher uptime, and that gives him much more survivability. Uh, but he's kind of been out of favor still, even with these big buffs. I don't, which is curious to me. So we'll see. Maybe teams just aren't quite as practiced on him yet, and maybe this is the week that we'll see him. I'm definitely excited to keep my eye out for that. Another thing to look out for is going to be these supports. We'll be seeing definitely a ban confirmed by the Overwatch team devs, or not a ban, a nerf coming out of the Overwatch team devs for healers, just a blanket nerf, likely lowering their healing. But as of right now, they are just a menace, just everywhere you look. Huge healing numbers, huge damage numbers. They really are just able to do it all. Their abilities, even past their healing, just able to keep their team alive for so long. So definitely make sure you keep an eye out for those supports from both teams. We'll be seeing good things from them for sure. Definitely expecting a Zarya pick likely coming up from Michigan, especially on these control point maps, which tend to be a little bit more closed in. Those bubbles just, frankly, so hard to avoid shooting, and if Zarya gets charged up, she really just does disintegrate you. So Michigan has been looking very strong in that Zarya recently. Coming out of Maryland, we've seen a lot of Junker Queen comps, but that was with Infectious at the lead. Off the top of my head, I think Tango favors more of the monkey. So we'll see. So we will see you guys on the other side of this commercial break. Let's see who's able to turn their W into their M into a W.
a specter in the walls. You cannot repair what you are. Endless time. You are colored by the rain, distorted and gray, never ending. You wanna slip away when you reach for the medicine cabinet. Opiate, you're gonna drift away on an empty day-glow highway. In sunset, you're gonna slip away. You're gonna drift away. Crawl your way to the surface and find you're still under glass. You've lost your meaning and purpose. You thought this feeling would pass. Well, you swore there must be an exit. You know you've seen one before. You try and pretend your body will mend, but it's bleeding, receding. You're gonna slip away in the halls of a railway station. The changes you're gonna wash away on the banks of a swollen river. You're shivering, you're gonna drift away. You're gonna drift away. Oh, I'm awake, my escape. I'm awake, my escape.
Okay, here we are. Yeah, on that Lijiang. I guess. I mean, it's kind of the king's row of control. Just everybody likes it. Coming out from Maryland, we're gonna see that that classic and infectious. Ooh, I thought we were gonna see the Drunkard Green, but instead opting for the Sigma instead. Just looks like they're gonna be matching Michigan's Sigma as well. Coming up from Toby One. Definitely make sure on this map here that you keep an eye on Cheese and Pumpkin, those Lucios. He can just be so brutal on this map, getting those huge poops off the edge. Both teams opting to just fight middle. Toby One gets walled off, but his team is able to peel for him, and but just evaporates suddenly as soon as that immortality film goes down. There goes Cheese, there goes Toby One, and Michigan is just trying to group up now. That's a huge fight for Maryland to start this game off. Very convincing. Let's see if Michigan's able to turn the tables. They're definitely going to be looking to do something like that. So Michigan is going to have a very hard time coming out from this choke. That Maywall can just completely block you out. And if you die before that immortality fill comes down, unfortunately for Maryland, Michigan is able to just cut right through that wall, and they're going to be able to just like group up after they get the wall down. And Michigan able to bait out the wall this time, not gonna fall. And here comes a wall, a window out of Michigan. They trade Nova Razor on the May for the Fab, but then disaster strikes with that gravitic flux, huge coming out from Infectious, just cutting down the rest of Michigan. And Fight 2 is also going to go to Maryland. Michigan coming out with gonna get out with this blizzard, charging it very quickly, especially compared to Maryland. While Maryland does have the Bastional coming out, a window coming out from Maryland, but Michigan should be able to just play the line of sight against the window, not worry about it too much. They're just looking for any way to get out of this. May on a little bit of a flank, but it's not going to work out. Here comes a wall of Michigan, and a huge eat coming from Infectious, catching the blizzard from Michigan, and they're able to just flip the fight with the blizzard from Maryland on their own. they strike down Toby-Wan and then catch Flippy on that Mei on that Bastion afterwards, and we're entering last fight territory, but Michigan might even struggle to get to the point here. They're going to be forced to go to the right probably. Here comes a null up from Bastion. Here's a wall. There's a wall from Maryland as well as their own Bastion ult. They're able to find the Bastion with the Bastion ult. He was stuck looking for the perfect artillery strike and dies in the process. There goes Nova Razor, and the rest of Maryland is just going to fall here. Pumpkin seeing if he can bait anybody to come out for him, but nobody on Michigan's going to fall for that, and he's just going to have to walk away. Speaking of boops, Cheese is even able to get one of his own onto Moose High on that Baptiste. So Maryland's likely to be looking for that flux, maybe even that window this fight. They just need to win one more fight for this point to be theirs. Meanwhile, Michigan ready to counter with that window, and even perhaps that with the blizzard. Here comes the window, but a huge flux coming out from Michigan. But they aren't able to find anybody, and in fact, Flippy is able to find Nova Razor a little bit of a May diff as Moose High falls, and so does Infectious, and Maryland just has to regroup again. We're going to be seeing that Blizzard come out from Michigan this fight. That is just such a powerful ultimate. Just able to completely cut off teams from each other unless they want to be completely frozen in place. So definitely, it will be interesting to see how Maryland tries to fight through that. And they decide to just rush right into Michigan, get in their faces before the Blizzard can even come out with that speed boost, with that window. They are able to find Toby-Wan on the Sigma. As they push forward, can they find anybody else? There goes the immortality field from Maryland, but they're able to kill everybody out before it goes down. And Maryland's going to be able to flip the point. Is Michigan going to be able to touch? Here's Lucio. He can be very, very slippery. He has to fall before Maryland wants to win this, and he does. Here comes the Blizzard out of Maryland, and it's going to be very hard now for Michigan to be able to contest this. The May is going to fall any second now. Now the Tracer is able to contest, but this probably won't last for very long. Unless Michigan's able to, unless a miracle comes out from Michigan. But no, there goes the Tracer. There goes the Baptiste. Sigma dies in the process, but Maryland already won the fight at that point. It looked that fight looked very dominant. That whole point looked very dominant for Maryland right until that very end, where Michigan just refused to go down. Unfortunately, Maryland is finally able to get the last laugh. Now, not really any switches from either team. We saw a little bit of the Sombra being teased, perhaps, but yeah, that May is just so powerful. Able to get that wall. She got one could argue she got buffed recently with an increase to her primary fire. She lost a little bit of CC in the process, but all in all, it makes her very consistent. And that wall just able to cut off enemies from their team is also very powerful. Speaking of those walls, looks like neither team able to really get a huge split, but that Bastion just doing so much damage against Tony as Maryland is forced to fall back, but they find May in the process. Their own Lucio and May so low in the process, so low is Infectious as well. They're able to finish them off. Doesn't look like they're quite able to, and now Maryland is trying to regroup. If they're able to do this, Michigan's going to have a very hard time pushing on to that point as Maryland caps it. They should be coming back any second though, so they may be able to get a quick recontest. That's definitely what Michigan is looking for. Huge walls coming up from both teams, but it looks like Maryland is going to be able to capitalize on it as they find the Sigma, and they're going to be able to clean up this fight as well. They do lose Baptiste in the process. If Michigan's able to get the right kind of taxi, we could be seeing an advantageous fight for Michigan here, as the entirety of Michigan is back now with the Baptiste from Maryland not quite back, and there goes Sigma. He's fallen, and it looks like Maryland's going to be able to clean up this fight while holding on to almost all 5 ults, which is exactly what you want to see if you're Maryland, or not Maryland, if you're Michigan. Maryland finally looking like they're catching up on that ult economy. The Baptiste is pretty far from his ultimate, but he charges that so quickly. Here comes a wall from Michigan as they wall off the Sigma, but he has his little grasp, and he's just fine. They do lose the Immortality Field, but a huge blizzard coming up from Maryland. Bastion's going to fall likely, but no, it's the Baptiste from Maryland actually. And somehow Michigan's looking like they're going to be able to win this fight. The Bastion eventually falls, but not before trading out the the Pumpkin on Lucio. And there goes the rest of Maryland with no supports to keep them up. It's almost impossible for Michigan to win that fight, and they're going to take the advantage on the percentage. And they hold on to that Blizzard. Such a powerful ultimate. They were still able to win that fight out against Maryland's Blizzard. So we'll see. This will probably end up being advantageous for Michigan as well. This fight, we'll see. Artillery comes down out of Maryland, but they're not able to find anybody. And the Blizzard comes down and it freezes almost everybody on Maryland, and they're all going to fall. We also got the artillery strike from Bastion out of Michigan. Maybe not needed, but they get the team wipe, so you can't complain if you're Michigan. And now Maryland is going to have a hard time. They're going to have a hard time to touch this objective. They need to fight their way through Michigan and touch the objective in only about 15 seconds, which is not very much time at all. We're probably going to see the window. Here comes the window out of Michigan. Just so much damage, and Maryland has no choice but to try to push through it. As Bastion falls, there goes the healers, and that's going to be likely the point for Michigan instead. Yep. Looks like Maryland's able to Pumpkin on that Lucio. No, it's the May Nova Razor able to sneak past Michigan and get the objective, but She's falls. Pumpkin's going to fall soon as well, and next they're going to find Tracer and Michigan. It will a very dominant round to come back from that first objective loss. There goes the Sigma, and there goes the point. Wow, those walls coming out from Michigan just did so much damage. They were able to find that. They were able to find the Sigma first in the fight so many times, and also, even when they weren't able to, that it was because that Baptiste rushed forward, rushed through that wall to that small choke point to give everything that he has over to that Sigma, and that just means that he was vulnerable in the process, and either Sigma or Baptiste was falling from Maryland at the beginning of almost every fight there, and Michigan able to get a pretty clean point from it. So again, no adjustments out of either team. Just really liking that Baptiste healing, the Lucio speed, very important when you can wall off the enemy. Pumpkin trying to get a little clever with a boop, but Michigan was fully ready for it, and they got a wall off onto the Sigma. A lot of utility forced to come out from Maryland, but it's worth it as they find the Bastion, they find the Baptiste as well, and Michigan just trying to back up now, seeing if they can salvage anybody from this fight. And they're able to save the May and the Lucio, but they're certainly not going to be able to save the point here, as Maryland gets the first capture and an early lead for this pivotal point, for this pivotal objective. Whoever is able to take this objective will also take the map. Michigan being forced to stream out of this very tight window, but they're able to do it very quickly. That Lucio speed boost, and they find May on the Nova Razor, but they lose their Baptiste in the process. And so it's still a pretty even fight. Looks like they're able to wall off, not quite the Bastion, and Maryland's just able to back up and stay alive. A window coming out from Michigan, which is matched by Maryland's own. Neither team able to really get a strong foothold. Here comes the artillery out of Maryland, but they lose Baptiste before they're able to do that, and looks like Michigan's going to be able to take this point probably. But here comes the trail to the Bastion. It's not over. Tony falls. Here's the beat coming up from Maryland. Is going to be able to keep them alive? Just everyone's so low from Maryland. And they are falling. They're able to trade out to Lucio though, and Maryland just refuses to die. They've lost everybody. It's just Infectious fighting on this point, but the Baptiste is able to get back, and so is the Lucio. And somehow Maryland isn't out of this fight quite yet. Finally, the Infectious dies. So does Tony on that Bastion, but Maryland's just still Michigan just not quite able to finish all of them. Like a Hydra, you kill one head and two more go back. Finally, they're able to capture them. They're able to kill the May, and technically they win the fight. But they lose 82%. Maryland is very happy with that for sure. So we'll be seeing definitely an ult advantage coming out from Michigan. They thought that the fight was won, and they were holding on to those ults, and they were able to win the fight without the ults, but it came at a price. But perhaps that price will be winning these fights now. We'll see. A huge wall plus that Bastion artillery is just so hard to live. A blizzard is going to come out from Maryland, but looks like Yamitra on the Baptiste is going to be able to shoot down that May before she does any more shenanigans. And Michigan is going to be able to win this fight as well, as they are climbing up to 50% now. Maryland needs to be thinking either about this fight or the next fight, because they're not going to have any chances more than that, most likely. Oh, and a huge pick from the May onto the Baptiste immediately, and Maryland probably they lose Bastion. They just need to regroup right now so that they can get another fight. That is a star fight coming out from Flippy, able to pick off that Baptiste immediately with a clean headshot, and then gets the wall off and able to clean up as well the Sigma and the Lucio. So approaching last fight territory, whoever wins this fight not only wins the objective but also the game as well. Here comes the speed boost, and the Gravitic Flux coming out from Michigan. They're only able to find the Baptiste, but they're able to kill him. So they also find the May in the process. It looks like a brew out of cheese. And frankly, Novariz is feeling pretty cheese himself, but Gravitic Flux him out of Infectious, but he gets cancelled by Tobuwan. And Maryland's going to need a miracle of their own to win this fight, but there goes Pumpkin, there goes Lucio, there goes the Sigma. They've got the stall with the Trace and the Moira, but it's frankly moot at this point. Michigan is going to be taking this point. They're going to be taking this first map, and they're going to be taking a convincing lead in the series, 1-0. I was talking about the supports in the beginning of that match, but we're probably going to be seeing a poop actually. Speaking of supports, here comes just a huge beat out of cheese here from Michigan, as they're able to just walk through, and there's the poop. There it is. I was talking about that, and oh man, Lijiang is really just a Lucio's playground, second only to maybe Ilios in that well objective. I mean, just so many opportunities to get those poop kills. You see them almost every time. Yeah, but what I was saying is, I was talking about the supports, and we saw the supports really were doing so much work, able to keep, especially on keeping the Sigmas alive from those walls. But it really felt like the defining characteristic of those fights were the walls. So we will see you guys on the other side. Right after this, we'll see how Maryland is going to look. To take back the lead. Welcome back, everyone. We're here on King's Row. I'm not even playing, and it puts me in a good mood. By far, the best thing Blizzard has ever done. Um, and this is what I was saying. First Li Zhang, now King's Row. Uh, I, I mean, the numbers don't lie. Everyone loves these maps. We'll be seeing how Maryland is looking to adapt from their lost round one in just a couple seconds. Let's see if they bring anything different or uh, so we're going to be seeing Maryland a switch onto the Widowmaker. I would have to imagine that that's a temporary switch. It's just saying if she can get like a pick out of the spawn doors, and then just to switch back onto likely the May that May Bastion combination just so powerful. Meanwhile, Michigan, there's actually a very significant change. Ilari and Baptiste, some of the I was talking about high damage and healing numbers. Well, that's Baptiste and Ilari. Just both of them just able to output so much damage, as well as Ilari just able to put down that pylon, not even heal intentionally. Uh, we're seeing the Widow very very close miss onto the May, and we see the wall off onto the Sigma, but they're not able to find anybody. Nova is pushing even further, but in fact, Ilari is able to snipe her off instead, and Maryland probably is going to look to back up. The Widowmaker just not without second damage. There's just no way that they can compete with the May Bastion combination. They're trying to make some space for the Widowmaker to get the headshot, but not quite able to do that, and we're just gonna see the swap back onto the May. And let's see if Maryland is able to make anything now that they're matching that May Bastion. And May actually caught up a little bit from Maryland. She's gonna have to go to the motel to back up to meet Michigan on the other side. But that means that Maryland's able to get the point. But as soon as that window comes down from Michigan, just that May shot right onto the Bastion, just able to take him out. And Maryland's first to back out now, not even getting a tick. And Maryland's just gonna have to regroup and try again. Oh, they do. That's a huge pick onto the May. If Maryland's able to regroup now and keep everybody alive in the process, Michigan's going to have a very hard time to win this fight without their Bastion. They lose to Lucio and the Baptiste, and now Michigan should have plenty of time to get their Bastion back, and Maryland is going to be forced to win the clean 5v5 again this fight. Yeah, that Ilari just doing so much damage. Those headshots just tearing away at Maryland's backline. Maryland yet again trying to go around going around the statues, trying to push off the Ilari, but actually the Ilari is going to push up, trying to gun down the Bastion, but she's got the pocket from Baptiste. And as the beat comes down from Maryland, all of Michigan is going to fall except for that Ilari just trapped in that far back corner. Maryland able to stagger her even a little bit, but she is going to fall. She's not. Is she going to be able to get the close spawn? Barely not. You gotta feel almost robbed if you're that Ilari. You're gonna have to make that long trek back, and that means that Michigan's gonna have to wait a second to recontest the payload. If they're not able to, if they are playing it close, actually, I'd be scared if I was Michigan a little bit. Maybe if a speed comes up from Maryland, Michigan's going to be down 5-4. A wall coming up from Maryland is going to allow Michigan to walk out regardless of the wall. A big rock coming out as well as the window coming up from Michigan, but they are able to catch the Bastion, not before, but immediately lose the Baptiste and the Bastion of their own in the process, and May is going to fall as well. And Maryland just looking to regroup now, but they were able to get the Bastion. The Bastion's so important in this composition. It just provides, frankly, half the damage that the team has, and so Maryland's able to get the fast regroup without the Bastion on Michigan, and they're able to just rush to that choke, healing up that Sigma. Is the Moose High able to keep their space up? The May taking so much damage somehow in the front rather than Infectious on the tank.
and you see the window coming down from Maryland. They lose Nova Razor, but Michigan's gonna need a lot more than that, losing an entire team. And Maryland might be able to push all the way to the objective off of that. Probably not with the Lucio, however. So Michigan might be able to get a contest, but it might be a little bit hard, especially with that blizzard coming down from Maryland, as well as perhaps the barrage and that beat for any damage that Michigan is able to do. Just kind of shake it off, and Maryland looking set to take the second objective. Here comes that blizzard out of Maryland as they get big freezes. They're able to beat, and some counter rolls coming up from Michigan, but completely counteracted by that beat out of Maryland, and Maryland is going to be able to take that point. Down goes the BAP. Now it's just May stalling as long as she possibly can on that point, but like a wolf just stalking their prey, and then eventually blows the house down on that May, and they're able to capture the second objective. So 3 minutes on the time banks, definitely a nice amount of time to work with. That means 2 minutes to capture this point with a minute on the clock, which is what you're always looking for. A wall coming out from Michigan, but they're not quite able to find anybody, and everyone just kind of finding a mid-ground play. Blizzard coming out from Flippy, but she might have gone a little bit too far for that. She does fall, but no, I mean, she died for that blizzard, but it was well worth it. Cutting off Infectious, who was just rocked and was killed, and that May, I believe, was also frozen from Maryland, and so Michigan able to get up to that fight and get the clean victory. Go a little bit further for that kill, and they're so close on killing that Baptiste, but that passive healing able to get him up, and he's not quite gonna fall. Here comes the Gravitic Flux out of Maryland, and they find the Sigma, they find the Bastion. Maryland, I would be very surprised if Michigan's able to get anything from this fight. The Lucio that she's looking to get somebody, but looks like we got some problems coming out from Maryland, calling for the pause. I'm curious what's going on here. It looks like even in these high level games, you still cannot escape that old cat diff. I believe Maryland is playing. The Maryland players are playing from home today, so somebody's cat climbed onto their keyboard, I guess. That's pretty silly. I'm glad that they were able to get that resolved, and that it didn't cost them the fight as well. Looks like we're getting the barrage from Michigan, but they're not quite able to find anybody, and the Gravitic Flux out of them as well, but May just able to go into that ice block and not fall, and just so much damage from that Bastion. Went from 200 to 0 on that May just so quickly, and Maryland's going to be able to cap this final objective. No sweat. They get the minute on the clock with 30 seconds to spare. That's exactly what Maryland was looking for this fight, to bounce back from their tragic loss on Lijiang. So now we'll be seeing an attack from. Let's see what Michigan has in store on the attack. So Maryland does not necessarily mind even losing, even mind if Michigan is able to capture the full objective. All Maryland is looking for is to stall down the roughly seven or 8 minutes so that Michigan has in their time bank now. If they're able to get Michigan down to 0 on that final objective, they only need to capture 1 tick with a mid in 30 seconds, which should be more than enough time. So Michigan is going to need to make sure they get really any amount of time on the clock here as they finish. It's not enough for them to just get that third objective. And so we saw the Alari coming out from Michigan on the defense, but that Lucio speed boost, especially with the prevalence of the May, you really do need that Lucio to just rush into the enemy team before they're able to cut somebody off and kill them. So let's see how this attacking round goes for Michigan. Looks like Maryland playing much more aggressively than Maryland did on that pillar and statue. Is it going to work out for them? Both immortality fields come up in both teams. Nobody falling quite yet, but so much damage onto that Bastion. He isn't quite able to back up in time. Is Maryland able to get anything back in return? No, and in fact they lose Infectious in the process, and it looks like that's going to be a very fast objective capture for Michigan. Surging forward, trying to see if they can catch that Lucio, but he's just so fast. And Michigan is going to be able to take this first objective. Very, very convincingly, under a minute, which is especially impressive when you consider that they only have that one man on the objective. And maybe they should have had more as Maryland surged forward, and they're able to catch the Bastion before Michigan was really able to react, even as they wall off the Sigma as well. And Maryland is going to be able to get this fight, and they're going to be able to do what Michigan was not able to do, and get a nice 5v5 fight onto this archway. This archway is a really important chokehold. They can just leech minutes off of the time bank. Just so hard to push through. You have to either squeeze through those little tiny wedges in between the point and go over it. Here comes Windows out both sides. So much damage, but an immortality field able to save the Bastion from Maryland. Here comes a beat from Michigan. That's gonna be huge. Are they able to find anybody with this added bonus? Not quite, as so many ults are coming out. Here comes the artillery strike. Here comes the blizzard, and now it's just clean up on aisle 4 as Maryland is able to get everybody. There goes the Baptiste to finish it off. A clean team wipe, and it's back to the drawing board for Michigan. They do have the Gravitic Flux. They do have that Bastion Artillery, 2 very powerful ults, and they can even combo into each other. But we are also seeing the beat out of Pumpkin, so it might be hard for Michigan to get kills, even with both of those powerful ults. A lot of damage coming onto the main, but she's able to just hide up in there, ice block and stay alive. A big wall into Sigma as he gets rocks as well when he's trying to grab. An immortality comes down, able to keep him alive. Here comes the artillery. Here comes the Gravitic Flux. But like I said, that beat able to keep everybody alive. Not everybody, as Tony falls. And Michigan now seeing if they can have damage control, able to keep kill anybody. They find the Sigma, but not before using a Sigma of their own, and also the Baptiste. And I would be, yeah. There's no way a Lucio trying to fight this one before. It's just not gonna happen. And Michigan finally able to get past that choke point. Maryland was able to get a couple. Looks like around 2 minutes off of Michigan's time bank, but Michigan is still looking just fine and dandy to keep pace with Maryland's objective. So Maryland should have no problem getting another fight on this point, but this will probably be their last fight as well. Here comes a window out of both teams, and Nova Razor falls immediately. Just so much damage. Here comes the beat out of Michigan, but with the window, that might not be enough to keep Michigan alive. I take it back though, as the Baptiste falls, the Bastion falls, the Sig falls, and that was just Pumpkin's on for as long as he can. And Michigan's going to take the fight. They're going to take this point, and they're even going to take the lead going into this third objective. They have more time. They're going to have more time on this clock. It looks like around a minute, like 30 seconds to even a minute advantage on this last point. Yeah, and that's a full minute over what Maryland had going into this final point. If Michigan keeps this up, they're not just going to have time on the clock. They're going to have an advantage. But not if they keep stuff like that up. Flippy just going way too far out, and he's going to pay the price as he falls. And like dominoes, there goes the rest of Michigan back to their spawn at least. Not quite able to get the cleanup onto Baptiste or Lucio, but it's penny. It's cents at that point. Oh, cheeky angle from the May. Is Michigan going to be ready for this? There's the wall. They caught nobody, and here comes a blizzard as well. Sigma's going to fall, and Maryland just seeing if they can get any more cleanup, any more staggering. Looks like Michigan is going to be able to run their way back to the spawn doors. They're going to be fine and dandy, but that's just more time off the clock. And I mean, they had an advantage going into this point, but they've already squandered it. There's 3 minutes left for Michigan. an artillery coming up from Michigan, not quite able to find anybody. He was looking for that Baptiste, but it wasn't able to find even an immortality field. While Maryland is able to find the immortality field and the May to boot. But Michigan is able to regroup and clap back with a May pick of their own. But it's not quite enough for them to salvage this fight as they lose the Bastion, they lose the Sigma, and they're just going to look for an immortality field to get them back to their spawn. And there's more time on the clock. Michigan needs to find something quick. At this point, they're not going to be able to beat Maryland. They're not going to be able to have a minute on the clock left over. And if they lose many more fights, they're not going to be able to have any time on the clock at all. Here comes the window out of Maryland, able to find the immortality field, not quite able to find anybody else. He's looking for that grenade through the window as well. Is Tony on that Bastion, but he isn't quite able to find anybody. And here comes a huge gravitic flux, but I think he was looking for more value than he actually got out of it. Toby won on the Sigma as Michigan is forced to use beat to keep him alive, and they should have been winning that fight. And here comes the gravitic flux out of Maryland. Lucio not hitting the ground. He gets slammed all the way down into the depths of whatever Omnic Society is going on below King's Row. And Maryland is able to clean up the fight very easily. As the time ticks down, Maryland just fully has the advantage on the clock. And they're probably going to have two fights. The responders are just so close to that final resting spot for the objective that I would be very surprised if Michigan has any time left in this clock. So Michigan is able to get the immortality field out from Maryland with that artillery barrage, but they lose their own artillery field. However, that May Blizzard comes out and they're able to find frankly everybody, but Pumpkin in his dying breath able to find that May. He's just so good with those boops. And now Michigan needs to. They're looking to spawn camp Maryland. Maryland needs to guess correctly which spawn doors to come out of. And they need to touch this point. If they're able to do it, they should be able to whittle down Michigan's time to 0. But if they're not quite able to, Michigan could just cap right on their noses. Here comes the artillery barrage out of Maryland. They find the immortality field, but they lose Bastion. They lose their own immortality field. Just looking for a way to neutralize the fight. Here, they lose Lucio, but they're able to find Sigma. But at this rate, Maryland might be able to regroup on the point before Michigan's able to kill all of them. Pumpkin dies. The time ticks down 3, 2, 1, and there's the overtime that Maryland was looking for. But they're not dead yet. It's not over. Maryland could even find a way to get this fight. We see the Doomfist stalling on point, and now the Lucio there to aid him. Lucio's gonna fall. Doomfist falls first, and Michigan just looking to get the cleanup. There goes the Sojourn. There goes the Lucio. A beat to boot coming out from Michigan as Maryland is able to capture the final objective, but they're not able to capture with any time left. So Maryland has 1 minute and a half to clean up this final fight. And they only need to get one tick on this objective in order to take this map. So, Michigan just fighting for a draw at this point. So we'll see. We'll see how they're looking to do it. Are we going to see the BAP and the Alari come out from them again? I wouldn't be surprised. That Alari was just doing so much work, and the speed boost not quite as necessary. No, we do see the Lucio, and frankly, that's not very surprising either. You see very often on this point where on this first objective where the attacking team is able to use their speed boost, able to surge their way on the point, and the defending team is forced to back up, regroup, get their cooldowns back, and in the process the attacking team can get 1-2 ticks. They only need one to take this point. So the Lucio just able to recontest on the objective in case Michigan is pushed off the point. The Lucio is able to push them onto the point sooner and just fight for that tech. But it's absolutely an upwards battle, and an upwards battle that they can't even win onto the final point. So we'll see what they're able to do with this stall that they're put up against. Here comes the wall of both teams. Looks like the Sigma is walled off from Maryland, but it's the May that falls after the Immortality Field, and Maryland just looking like they just need to back up now. They still have another fight, but it's only one. And if they get staggered at this point, like they were getting on their first attacking round, we could see the draw. It is not over for Michigan at all. We're seeing a lot of window charge coming up from Maryland, but oh my god, the Baptiste falls so low. His passive healing is going to be able to get him back up to health. A May wall coming out from Michigan, but not able to find anybody, and now Maryland on a little bit of a Michigan on a little bit of a back foot. Here's the window, and this is what I said. Look at Michigan; they're forced to walk all the way back off the point, but they should be able to get the recontest quickly with that Lucio as they stay on point, and they cannot get off. They are able to find the May and neutralize the fight. Here comes the Brew, a bit of flux as well. 10 seconds left on the clock. Maryland needs to win this fight. There's no time for second chances here. There's no time for recontest. Here comes the artillery barrage coming out from Maryland. Is it able to find anybody? There's the Sigma. That's so important. Maryland staying on point. Are they able to keep the Sigma alive? If they're able to keep him up at full health, topped off, then it will be almost impossible for Michigan to take this fight. And in fact, there goes the Baptiste, there goes the Lucio, and Maryland takes the point. Maryland takes the map, and they're going to be able to even it up, a 1-1 score. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I lost faith a little bit. Michigan was doing such a good job, just refusing to break. But finally, that artillery strike, finding that signal was just so important. And we were talking about the supports a little bit in the beginning, and yeah, just look at these shots, beautiful stuff, coming up from Cheese, I believe, was on the Alari, but it just did not end up being quite enough on King's Row, and Maryland is able to take it. So we should be seeing Push now coming out. Sorry, Flashpoint. That's my bad. We're seeing Flashpoint now. So we've been seeing a lot of New Junk City on Flashpoint, but we can also see, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite get the name of the other point, because frankly, we don't see people playing on it very often. I've seen almost exclusively New Junk City in these high tier games. So unfortunately, Maryland does not have the pick of the map. They really like their New Junk City. I've heard them say that it's one of their best. That they're one of the best teams on that New Junk City. So I would not be surprised if we do actually end up seeing that other map. That I just can't recollect. But with any luck, I'll be reminded soon enough. So we definitely will be seeing the Lucio on the Flashpoint, regardless of what map we see. It's just so important on these Flashpoints. They can turn into a little bit of a walking simulator if you don't have that Lucio, because the points are just all just so far away. So we won't be seeing any more of that Alari. We'll be seeing we'll definitely be seeing Lucio and almost certainly Bab out of both teams. That Baptiste, I mean, we were seeing how much damage those windows were wrecking. You went from healthy to dead and back in spawn just so quickly. And as we load into this next map, it's going to be Servasa, which is in fact the other Flashpoint map. Michigan wanting nothing to do with Maryland's New Junk City. So let's see if this pick pans out for them. So just waiting 15 seconds to see what heroes each team is bringing, but I mean, I'm almost certain we'll be seeing Sigma, Baptiste, Lucio, May, Bastion. That's just it's just such a dominant combo. Oh, Am I seeing that right? We're seeing perhaps a Ramatra coming out from Maryland. I was talking about this earlier. I wanted to see it. I love Brawl, personally, and frankly, who doesn't? Well, maybe not the DPS or the healers, but us tanks, we love some good old Ramatra. No, he's been switched back to Sigma. I can't say I'm surprised. Sigma is just so important with all of that damage coming out from Bastion. If you get walled, you need to be able to use that kinetic grasp, to just eat up as much damage as possible. So both teams meeting in this little market area, seeing if any team can get an early advantage. Here comes the Immortality field out of Maryland, putting them on the back foot a little bit, but it's matched by Michigan. As Michigan is able to get their one at the point, and Maryland needs to decide to either contest or. I mean, they just need to commit to this fight because Michigan is able to get the objective before the fight even starts. And if this fight goes on for very long, with the speed that Flashpoint that these Flashpoint objectives get taken, I mean, we could see the whole point taken in one fight. No, Maryland loses their Baptiste and their not their Baptiste, their Sigma, and they're just going to back out. They were able to trade the Lucio, but. That doesn't really matter compared to the Sigma. Once your Sigma dies, it's very hard to win this fight. And look at the stagger from Michigan, just refusing to let that Baptiste die. And look at that, he finally dies, but with 60% on the clock. I'm not even sure that Maryland's going to be able to get another recontest. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get another recontest onto this Flashpoint. I mean, Michigan might just go up 1-0. On this map immediately. Maryland is finally starting to trickle in, but they're going to need to rush around the point. And here comes a wall or a window out of Maryland. They find the Sigma and they're able to touch, in fact, but they lose both of their DPS in the process. They trade out the May, but lose the Bastion as well. Here comes a beat out of Maryland. They're able to find anybody in the process. Both of the healers from Michigan are still alive, and they're just able to keep that Bastion alive. Here comes a Gravitic Flux, but it's matched by a Lucio beat. They didn't even really need it, as the Sigma falls before the Gravitic Flux is able to find anybody, and Michigan takes the first objective. So where is the second point going to be? Looks like it's going to be far back right, into the little temple area, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So the point itself can be very tight, especially if you go down that narrow stairway. And we're almost certainly won't see any teams opting for that entrance. Just a huge ultim coming out from both teams. Are either team able to find anybody? Here comes the Bastion out of Maryland falling, and so does the Sigma. There goes the Bastion. There goes the Baptiste. There goes the May, and the Lucio falls as well. They're not trying to stagger him because, frankly, you can't stagger a Lucio. But but you can take a point from him, as Michigan demonstrates, frankly, quite easily. And Maryland looking now to flip this point. Here comes the artillery barrage coming up from Maryland. So much damage coming up from that Bastion onto the Sigma, but they aren't quite able to find him. I take that back. Nova Razor in his dying breath throws down a blizzard, and they're able to freeze all of Michigan, and they're going to be able to flip this point with just over or exactly 50% on the clock, which should mean that they get a recontest if they ever end up falling. So we'll see. A window likely coming out of this fight from Michigan. Meanwhile, looks like only a window coming out from Maryland as well. But I mean, so much damage from these windows. Here comes Michigan's, and it looks like Maryland's not even going to be able to build those up in time. He only had like 15% or so, but 15%. But that's 15% too much. As Michigan just rushes onto this point. Now they're going to get these staggers, and I'm a hater. I don't think that Maryland is going to be able to get this objective. You see how far up Michigan is playing, and Maryland is going to need to fight right through them. They only have about 10 seconds now at this point, and it's just not going to happen, most likely. It looks like they're going for it. They're going to try, but here comes a blizzard out of Michigan. and that freezes the Sigma right out of his gravitic flux, and they're able to find the Mei, and Lucio's even able to get the point. Not quite able to flip it. A little Lucio 1v1 on point. Who's gonna win? But now the Baptiste in to help, just making sure that Michigan's Lucio never dies, and the Bastion able to make sure that that Maryland's Lucio falls, and that's 2-0 for Michigan. We're looking at a reverse sweep if Maryland wants to win this. So a little bit of what I'm talking about is a little walking simulator. Michigan forced to go all the way to the other side of the map, and that most likely means that Maryland will be able to beat them there. Yes, here they are. So Michigan on a little bit of a back foot given the RNG of this map, but looks like they're going to be able to overcome it just fine. Here comes the artillery barrage onto Tony. We see a blizzard coming up from Maryland though as they freeze the Sigma. We get a beat from Maryland, and I'm astonished that was able to be enough. That blizzard and that freezes just so much, but so much healing coming up from Baptiste as well. I spoke a little bit too soon. There goes the Sigma from Toby-1, the Sigma, and we see the artillery barrage coming out of Maryland, just cleaning up this fight. Are they going to be able to get any staggers like Michigan on that first point? No, not quite. Lucio able to stay alive, and the Baptiste just hopping all the way back to his team. He'll be fine, but Maryland's percentage is already taking up to 50%. You see how important it is to get to that point first, as they were able to capture the objective before the fight happened. And with the time ticking up, Michigan calling for a pause. That's a rough time to need a pause on these flashpoint maps. So we're getting a second to breathe. And unfortunately, it's not a cat this time. Nova Razor joking about a dog, but it seems like it's a little bit of an issue problem, a network issue coming out from Michigan's side. You can just never trust that dorm Wi-Fi, can you? Looks like Michigan's calling ready. So we should be back any second now. We're seeing the window out of Michigan as we resume this fight any second now. Here it is. We see a window coming out from Michigan this fight, maybe even a blizzard. While Maryland has nothing, it's going to be very hard for them to win this fight. So we're most likely going to be seeing another fight on this point, even as Maryland's objective timer ticks up to 80% now. Here comes the window. A wall off onto the Sigma. Are they able to find anybody? Not quite. Just so much damage from that Bastion. Not quite able to find anybody though, but they wall off the Mei, and there goes the Mei from Maryland, and Maryland just forced to back up now. Michigan surging forward, seeing if they can get any staggers, and yeah, there's a Sigma. And they're gonna get Tony as well on that Bastion. As Maryland is forced back to point, Michigan not giving them a second to breathe as they follow them, but they finally called it back up and come back to this objective here. As the time ticks up to 50%, Maryland also this is last fight for Maryland. They need to win this fight if they want any chance of winning this map. So we'll be seeing. Yeah, here comes the Gravitic Flux and the window. So much damage from both of these heroes coming out from Maryland. A huge eat. Michigan was hoping to recontest and win the fight with the blizzard, but Maryland eats it. But Michigan's able to eat Maryland's blizzard as well. Unfortunately for Michigan, it's just not quite enough. That huge ease onto the blizzard. Just between the window and the Gravitic Flux, just so much damage. Just so much damage coming out onto all 5 of them, and Baptiste is never going to be enough. But now it's Maryland's turn for a little bit of walking simulator. As they're forced to journey all across the map, and it looks like Michigan's going to be able to touch point at the first as well. We see an artillery barrage and a window coming up from Michigan, but actually it's Maryland who finds the first pick on this fight, and Michigan also loses the Sigma, they lose the Baptiste, and Maryland able to flip that fight. Uh, and they're able to take this first point. They're looking primed to bring this map to a 2-2 score and maybe even a reverse sweep. So we'll see what they're able to do. As they're just waiting now to see what Michigan has in store for them. What does Michigan have in store for them? No ults. Not a single 50%. Only now the May calling 50%. Here comes the artillery barrage, finding both healers out of Michigan, and Tony able to find the Sigma. They find the Bastion, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see if that's our play at the game. We'll be able to see Bastion's point of view of that play at the end of this. But as for right now, let's just see if Michigan's even able to come back and touch this objective. It looks like they should be able to, with the timer ticking up to 25 now. 25% left remaining. But only about 5 seconds left to touch, and here comes the window out of Maryland. And how are they going to be able to overcome this damage? Here comes the wall. That certainly is going to help, but is it enough? Here comes the blizzard out of Maryland as well, and Michigan is just forced to stand in it. Because what are they going to do? Get off the point? No, that's what Maryland wants. But staying the blizzard, Maryland also wants that. It's a lose-lose situation for Michigan. And Maryland takes the point. They bring it to 2-2. Are we seeing the reverse sweep? I don't know. It's definitely looking good for Maryland, but they are forced for another trek all the way back. Looking like a beach ball, just back and forth. And Michigan should be able to also get to the point first. But it's very close actually, and it looks like they opt not to get to the point first, but to go for the high ground. Maryland meets them there. Here comes the wall out of Michigan. Is able to find anybody. Looks like the Bastion is forced a little bit out of position now, and he's gonna fall. Here comes the beat out of Michigan and Maryland both. Here comes the window of Michigan, and that should be the final nail in Maryland's coffin. This fight. There goes Nova Razor. There goes Infectious on the May and the Sigma respectively. There goes the Baptiste, and Michigan able to get off to an early lead on this final point. Winner take all to not only win the fight but also win the advantage of the series. So and they also a huge ult advantage coming up from Michigan now. We'll see if Maryland's going to be able to overcome it. Here comes the barrage out of Michigan, as well as the Blizzard and the Gravitic Flux, a deadly combo. And yeah, I mean, how do you escape from that situation? It's just so hard. And oh no, the May or the Baptiste from Maryland. He thought he was sneaky enough to get away, but not quite. As Michigan runs him down, he should be able to get back in time, however, to get this final objective. But it's going to be close. They have to run all that way with only about 10 seconds left. I mean, I was spelling. I thought that this spelled doom last time. Maryland was able to not only flip the fight, but also the point. But with the Bastion dead immediately, it's going to be very hard this time. And with the timer ticking up, yeah, that May wall just able to block Maryland from getting on the point. And Michigan is going to take map 3. Wow, that was such a back and forth fight. Yep, here comes that Bastion play from Tony. This is what I was calling for that play of the game. Here comes the artillery strike. It's able to pick up both healers, and they just keep on pushing forward. There goes the Sigma. A great play from Tony. And but even better play from Michigan as a whole, as they are able to take that final point and the map. So Michigan pushed up 2-1, and Maryland is going to need to take these next two maps back to back if they want any chance at winning this game. Are they going to be able to do it? We'll find out right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Esports. Welcome to beautiful country of Portugal. Uh, as we're looking for this fourth map. Just a quick reminder: Michigan is up 2-1 in the series. Maryland forced to win these next two maps. Let's see if they're going to be able to do it. I'm interested to see if we see any big character changes from either team. Genji's I've seen run rampant over this. It can lend itself to a lot of brawl around that central clock tower in the middle of the map. We might also see maybe even a Pharah. Let's see if either team. No, it looks like we're gonna get more of the same. It certainly lends itself to some exciting an exciting viewer experience. One when that window come down, I mean, fights can turn on their head so quickly. All five of the heroes really able to just provide an explosive turn to any fight. We saw the Ilari coming out from Michigan for a second, but they're gonna opt for the Lucio. It makes sense. You don't want to be at a disadvantage to open the fight just by positioning. A wall coming up from Michigan, but the Sigma should be able to just walk himself away. Here comes a wall of Maryland used defensively, as their Sigma falls very low and without the graph to keep them alive. Maryland going to be able to push the robot a little bit, but they're not able to push the barrier at all. As both teams just looking for some kind of opening on either team, but neither team providing an opening at all. I do take it back. It looks like Maryland was able to push their barrier up 0.05 meters, but I doubt that's going to be very pivotal to this game. A window already coming out from Maryland, but look, I mean, I was talking about explosive carry potential from one player. You saw that window come out from Baptiste, and he's able to just gun down the May, and he gets the Sigma to boot. I mean, Maryland had the advantage in that fight where they were able to get that window before Michigan was, but then out came Yamitra with his wall, or not with his wall, with his window, and able to get two off of it. So and now Michigan with an ult advantage as well, only a beat from Maryland. Are they able to get a wall? They're able to get a wall onto both Bastion and Sigma, but the rest of Maryland's able to file out quickly. But maybe they should have just stayed inside, as all five of them fall. Able to catch Sigma and Bastion. They tried to run up past the front lines of Michigan up those stairs, as well as the supporting cast of Maryland, those two healers, as well as the May who got walled off as they tried to save their comrades, and they're able to get the close spawns as well. Here comes the artillery barrage out of Michigan, not quite able to find anybody, and now it's Maryland's turn to engage. Here comes the not the barrage, but the gravitic flux from Michigan, from Maryland. Not able to find anybody. They're able to find the immortality field. Maybe that's enough. Here comes a beat out of Maryland to try to counter the flux, and they're not, and it's able to work. Nobody from Maryland falling, and here comes a blizzard out of Maryland. They lose their Baptiste, but that blizzard is able to pay dividends as it takes down 3 of Michigan, and then the last 2 are easy cleanup for the remaining bits of Maryland. We see the Lucio. He gets he's gonna peel off and go taxi the Baptiste back, and they're able to get the reset on the close spawns now. and start their own push. Is Maryland, but they do have a high ground because they were able to get the high ground from their respawn, and they're kind of in an awkward position. They tried to challenge the high ground, but instead opted to just back up and play for positioning instead. Instead of pushing that cart, and Bastion trying to challenge the window. Bastion out of Michigan trying to challenge the window, but he ends up deciding against it. The Sigma also tries to challenge the window, but he decides against surrendering, and he's going to fall. What is this blizzard from the May out of Michigan? I mean, I was talking about solo carry. I was talking about solo carry potential from all of these heroes, but not like that. You might be able to get a pivotal pick in a fight, but you're not winning a 1v4. As Maryland is going to be able to win that fight and keep their blizzard against Michigan. So we're seeing a recontest in a second. It does take a little while just because Maryland is forced to taxi some of their players back, and they're able to catch the Bastion. A window comes out from Michigan, but Maryland is able to surge right through it. Michigan's not going to be able to get very much value from this, maybe probably. Here comes the immortality field from Michigan. A gravitic flux, but he's taking so much damage. Is he even going to get it off? He does, but he's going to fall. It's not going to be able to pick up anybody. And here's the May again. This time no blizzard to waste, as Maryland's going to be able to take the fight. And from this, they should be able to capture the checkpoint. It's kind of unclear whether or not they're going to have the time left. You can see that Infectious on that Sigma, as well as Nuvariz on that May, playing a little bit aggressive, just trying to keep Maryland off the point. Here comes the artillery barrage, but it is going to come just in time, and it finds Pumpkin. Granted, Cheese does, but I believe that the artillery barrage had a hand in that. And Maryland now just trying to keep this fight alive. They really want to get this checkpoint, and they're able to get the Bastion. Is that going to be enough to swing this fight? It's not. I'm not sure. Immortality coming out from both teams, but nobody's falling. Finally, there goes the May, and that might spell the end for Michigan's fight here. Yes, it does. As finally the Sigma dies, and yeah, this is just going to be a cleanup for Maryland at this point. And they get the checkpoint, and they should even be able to get the advantage. You can see the line right there. Showing where Michigan was able to push, and Michigan likely will not be able to get back in time to contest that. Ooh, I take it back. Wow, that Lucio just bred so much speed, and oh my god, talk about speed. I mean, well, how about you talk about the speed at which Musai just evaporated? I believe he got comboed that with that grenade that normally only does 120 damage. That's certainly not nothing, but normally you can just heal it off. It might be just 80 damage, but regardless, with that window, I mean, it's basically a one-shot if you're able to connect it, and Michigan was able to connect it to that window, taking out the Baptiste before he was able to respond. Now we see the artillery barrage coming out from Tony on Maryland's team, and the gravitic flux, but he's actually going to be rocked out of it. That boulder just it's hard to keep your concentration for sure if you're casting gravity spells. We see the blizzard coming out from Michigan, as well as the gravitic flux, and they're just going to be able to clean up this fight nice and easy. That's going to be all of their ults, but they only have to worry about that blizzard from Maryland, maybe that window as well. And actually, now that I'm taking a look at it, it looks like it might be able to get that beat up in time as if they really need it. So Maryland probably will have the tools to be able to flip this fight if need be. And here comes the May. Maybe it didn't even need that blizzard, just so as such a pivotal pick to open up the fight. But they go for it anyway. Just play it safe. Make sure that you win that fight and you clean it up quickly. So that Michigan isn't able to get a nice position on the high ground. Although with the close objective, they might be able to anyway. But Maryland is actually going to meet them there, and just try to keep that advantage from Michigan. If Michigan is unable to push through this tiny little choke point, Maryland's going to get some push time for free. here comes a huge ult dump out of Michigan, and it's going to pay off as they find the Baptiste. We do see a beat coming out from Pumpkin, but it's not going to be enough as Nova Razor falls. They find the Lucio from Michigan, but they lose Bastion as well. No more DPS left, and now they're just now they're almost being petty at this point. They're not really gaining much from continuing this fight. And Michigan's going to be able to flip the point as well. However, Maryland was able to get the checkpoint, so they will have the chance now to play that high ground, as well as have that barrage in order to help them push out of that little checkpoint. Looks like they're going to opt instead to the low ground. They did this last time. It makes sense. That checkpoint can be hard, especially if the other team beats you to it. Lucio pushing the cart. Maryland was looking to come out of this little gate, but they had to first get that objective. Here comes the wall. Not quite able to find anybody. Here comes the barrage, and it's looking for the Mei, but the Mei should be able to get out just fine. Here comes the Gravitic Flux. They find Mei. There goes the Immortality Field. There goes Bastion. There goes Maryland. And with only 30 seconds left on the clock, Maryland might be begging for a miracle at this point. I mean, Michigan has the window. Michigan has the Blizzard. They might even be able to build up the barrage if the fight takes very long. And Maryland needs to win multiple fights in a row at this point. Are they even going to be able to touch? Finally, Sigma gets there right in the nick of time. And we see the Immortality Field come out from Michigan as well. That's definitely what Maryland needs if they're gonna win this fight. The Baptiste is even cut off a little bit from his team, but it's really hard to challenge him because you have to stay on that objective. Here comes the Gravitic Flux from Infectious. He's very low, but he's going to be able to get it off anyway. But they trade out the Baptiste. Here comes that Blizzard. Maryland is going to match the Blizzard themselves, but it's just not going to be enough. They're able to find the Sigma, but with just Lucio left on the point, that's going to be the game. There he falls, and that's going to be the map. That's going to be the set. Wow, that was a very exciting game. I could have seen all four of those games that we saw going either way, but looks like Michigan is going to be able to get the better of Maryland in enough of these. And I mean, this kind of summarizes that game. Just so much damage, or it summarizes all four of these games. Just this Baptiste just doing so much damage to that window, able to keep his team alive with that Immortality Field, just refusing to let his team die, and Michigan is going to be able to take it all. Some truly exciting games, some truly exciting maps. I really enjoyed that, and I hope you guys did at home as well. But that's going to just about wrap it up here in this series. So we will see you guys in the next one.